Hello! You're listening to Talking at a Slot, the podcast, occasionally talking about having fun with toy cars. I'm Scott, and here, as a special guest appearance, it's...
Pedro.
Yay! Crowd goes wild,
Vote
way!
Pedro. Crack as well. You promised me if we did this that I'd get special guest appearance.
I'm going to do that. Do you remember, it's like there's like Rockford Files, after the titles that
Yes.
come up, say, special guest
Oh
appearance,
my
right?
God.
Yeah.
And immediately we're men of a certain age talking BS again. It's like
Well,
nothing's changed.
I'm slightly disappointed Scalextrics haven't done a Rockford Files Gold Camaro, to be honest. But
So am I. That's surely in the wings. Or is
I,
it
th-
not the right model? I don't know.
I think Simon's just too young to even know what the Rockford Files are, to be honest.
Hi, this is Jim Rockford. If you leave your name and number, I can't remember the rest of it.
That's
But
about
the
it.
music, I'm going to go off, if I remember, I'm going to go off and listen to the music. Anywho, nice to see you again.
Mike Post and Pete Carpenter wrote the music.
Ooh,
And
that's a bit too knowledgeable.
yeah, do you want me to go extra level? Last
Yeah.
year, BBC Wales made a three-part comedy series about a guy who was a 70s school teacher, capri, leather jacket, fancied himself. Plot twist is he gets caught in an avalanche, wakes up sort of 50 years later and is alive, and is having to still driving around in his capri, and they got Mike Post to do the theme music for it.
Wasn't that the same? Because there was one where a guy did something similar in a Mr. Ben style. I think he goes into a shop and he comes out the other side, and suddenly it's the 80s and he's driving around in an Audi Quattro. And
That's Ashes to Ashes or something, isn't it? The cop one, yes. No,
yeah.
this one's just a comedy series.
Oh, okay.
Can't remember what it's called, sadly. So no use to anybody. But there you go. Anyway,
That's
toy
us to
cars,
see.
toy cars. So we kind of saw each other in passing at the Slotfest, which is a week or so ago.
And I
Because
apologize for not getting back to you because I just got tied up talking to other folk.
it's
And,
okay. It's okay. Likewise, it was a busy day, but it was good, and lots of people talking, which is good. Talking slot, as it were. But so, what did
talking
you?
utter stuff.
Well, a lot of that was going on, and I should say thank you to the various people. And it sounds terribly egotistical to say there were quite a few, but there were, much to my surprise and delight, who came up and said, "Oh, are you doing any more podcasting?" Blah blah blah. So, to those people, thank you very much. If you're sorry to hear us back, blame those people because they suggested it. But anyway, we're here. So, Slotfest, what caught your eye, to use an old expression?
Well, as I went up the escalator, I think two things immediately. The Pendle stand. I think that was a sort of amalgam of. I was thinking, was it Scalextrics or Pendle, and I ended up with Pedal.
Careful.
Pendle's little cabinet. Did you see Pendle's little cabinet where they had their resin broadspeed Jag, which was beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's new, but they also had nearly so full a working six-wheel Williams resin kit. That looked peachy. I don't want it, but it looked peachy, and that's the reason I go to Gaydon in part, to see stuff that previously would just be on a web page and flat.
Yeah, no, I did see that, and I've just realised we should have called it the Pendle Cabinet of Curiosities, shouldn't we? That would have been a good title for it. You can have that one for free, Sean. Yes, it's a little bent metal chassis with the two axles, and I think it's a couple of polycar
Yeah,
wizzy bits at the back.
bent metal is a little bit disparaging, isn't it? Isn't it?
Well, it's not
brass and
flat.
finely engineered. Oh, yeah, it's bent.
It's bent metal, yeah. Metal bashing and all that. But no, it looks good. So yeah, I probably will buy it.
Really?
And then I almost certainly won't build it because I have never in the history of me buying model cars of any description built a resin one, whether it's 143rd or 132nd. I'm just daunted by the thought of, oh, I'm going to mess it up.
The one resin kit that I bought, I sat on for, well, not literally, for multiple years, and then finally eBayed, having never built it. It was a Clio kit car. It looked so cool because it was one of those like chunky wheel arches. I'm a fan of the chunky wheel arch, and but I never built it. I just never got around to it. I think I put a chassis on it in the end, and then eBayed it with a little bit of body filler in it.
No, no. In fact, probably one of the early things I should do is eBay the resin kits. They're
Mm.
probably classics worth nothing. No.
But going back to what caught your eye, I
Mm,
know what caught your eye because
all right.
very, very disconcertingly, I opened up my Instagram feed and there was a picture of you in somebody else's feed, I think, manhandling Scalextric stuff.
I was caught on camera. You're quite right,
Mm,
fondling Captain Scarlet's
mm,
special pursuit vehicle. Sorry. Yes, it was the Scale Hectic video channel on
yeah,
YouTube. Have I got
that
that
was it.
right? And just as he approached the kind of electric layout of the two pieces of track and all the cars on it, I had said large piece of black plastic in my hand, and I think Simon is off stage left, and I was waxing lyrical about how great it was.
Yeah,
Um,
because I missed him. I'm sorry. I mean, he's probably not sorry, but I'm sorry I missed him. Not to just shake the gentleman's hand and say that Volvo, that Captain Scarlet machine, chef's kiss.
It is. There was quite a few
Mm.
cars on the other. I thought yes. I think it's amazing that they do that. That they put that. It's not. It's not like it's just a special preview day. It's for all the
Mm.
punters and their sticky-fingered kids get to come up and fondle the cars. So
Not like that grumpy Lancashire man who puts his in the PCC cabinet of delight and you can't touch him. I think that's a wise move on his part, to be honest. I think I wonder how many Scalextrics got dropped accidentally as men like you were fondling them and then going giddy with it. Oh,
Giddy with the excitement. Ooh, ooh, I'm
yeah.
stroking.
Oh, I've dropped it.
I've dropped it. Yeah. I mean, if probably surprisingly few, I guess.
Yeah,
But I
probably.
mean, but
I'm
yeah.
just
Yeah, yeah,
talking
no,
out of
no,
school.
but you're right. I know what you mean. Before you do it, you sit there going, "Oh, they'll get broken," but actually,
Yeah,
it's probably all right. It certainly works because in terms of building endearment towards the brand,
totally.
so yeah, it's great. So
Because
yeah,
the same thing worked. Sorry, the same thing worked. I think on the Slot.it stand where the nice poker-faced young man let me take the E30 in my sweaty palms, pointing out to me that the A pillar was already broken before I had manhandled it.
you didn't feel guilty about that. Then that's okay.
No, he pointed it out, and I instantly thought, "Oh shit! Now I can't really do anything. Why don't I hand it back to you before I break the B pillar?"
Well, we've skipped on there because yes, slot it E30B
Sorry.
and
Yeah.
M3. No, 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 it's fine. It's fine. I think one of those things which was a surprise, but the instant I saw it, I thought, yes, of course, it's such an obvious car to do.
I know.
And there's a million liveries.
Ah,
I mean, it's
I've
just
said it on the slot forum. That's his pension right there. Forget about repainting Porsche 956s, 962s. The E30 will see that man comfortably into retirement with all
well,
the reliveries.
well. Let's hope so. Let's hope. But I'm also hopeful
No, here we
uh,
go.
that this will be what I think will be the first slotted rally car. No,
Boo hiss.
boo hiss. No.
Rally cars just leave me a little bit cold. I know what you mean. Stratos, rally car, all that Group B nonsense.
Mhm.
But an E30 doesn't need
I'll
those extra spots on the front.
go to YouTube and search BMW Rally, BMW M3 Rally, and you'll get the Bastos car on the Isle of Man probably will come up first, and then you'll just want one.
Which you had some sort of hand in, I believe.
No, 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 that was nothing to do with me.
Well,
I was at BMW at that certainly round about that time, but no, it didn't. Didn't I wasn't that closely involved with those ones. But got
but
to
you have
go.
an affection for the breed. I
I
do. I
have,
mean,
yeah, I don't know.
I dislike BMW as a brand quite vehemently. If I turn to my cabinet, I've got a line of sideways M6s. I have got M1s. It's like, and
Um,
then I say I don't like BMW. Liar.
Now, what do you make of the flies with the sideways, not sideways, sorry, scale auto chassis? Have you seen those?
I haven't seen those.
The
Well,
so-called Fly
that's
Evo
interesting.
3. So
Are
there's
they liveried or are they just
they
plain?
are, they are. And the
Oh,
reason I mentioned there's an M1, an 037, a
there's an
Quattro,
M1. Yeah.
and I can't think of what the other one is. And as I haven't tested this, but I believe the bodies are as was before. So if you've got
Oh, really?
if you've got a favourite BMW M1 body, you can buy the
Oh,
Scale
no.
Auto chassis and screw it under it.
So in this cabinet over here, oh, I hope this. I hope the mic didn't pick up that rumble from my stomach. But
It
in that
did.
cat, did it? Dear reader, I apologize. In that cabinet over there, you will find my 12, I think it is, could even be 15 comes to mind, BMW M1s, which, again, chef's kiss. I just love that model. I love the M1 anyway.
It's
And
got
the
the
Fly
arches, hasn't
one,
it? It's got the arches you love.
yeah, it's got that wing. It's got that whole, is it Giugiaro? Oh, I'm going to say Giugiaro. I just love that. But then I'm stuck in the 70s, 80s. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
but I
that's your
didn't
age.
realize that the Avant Slot collab was liveried ones.
Scale Auto, not Avant Slot.
Them too. Yeah.
Or to make it go even faster, Scaliotto. Yeah.
Scally Auto. Oh, I like that. Or I tend to say Skull Auto. It's a Skull Auto.
Scalordo. Scaliotto.
So now I'm totally confused. Who is it? Is it Scale Auto or
It's
is it Avant
Scale
Slot?
Auto chassis under fly bodies, and they're being
I
called
completely forgot to look for those.
Fly Evo 3. So
Okay, I will look
it's,
that up.
I think it's, I mean, the notion of racing Fly, I think Fly are doing a kind of version of the BMW M1 Pro Car Championship in Spain as a way
Okay.
of launching them. But as a club class, it's probably a great idea because,
Yeah.
buy the chassis and the gear, and you've got cars which look really nice going quite quickly. So,
Yeah. Which I was going to. You ended that sentence in a way I didn't think you would. Fly. One of the things from Gaydon that I enjoyed seeing was the Renault 5s and some of the 911s. Fly just endlessly pump out decent liveries on their staples, the 5, the 911, and their E30. And they are sweetly pretty cars, and they just run like poo.
that's if they run at all. I mean, sometimes I've looked at the new Renault 5, so not the Group B car, the little hatchbacky one,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty convinced the rear wheels don't turn because they're just wedged into the chassis. So I have stayed my hand, and a measure of how well, either the self control I've developed, but more likely the pain I've gone through is that the most recent Renault 5 Turbo livery is the yellow Newman sponsored
Oh yes,
Monte
I saw
Carlo
that
car.
on the
Absolutely.
web. I didn't see it again.
Just it would have been, by now, but I was
Yeah.
like, no, it wouldn't work, so I'm not buying it.
Oh wow, that is restrained.
The last three that I've bought have all got, well, they run. One's a coffee grinder. I mean, it makes so much noise. It is like screeching banshee as it goes round. Um, and the other one, yeah. So they've obviously given up bothering about whether the axles are straight and the wheels are round and all that good stuff.
So no
Fine.
word of a lie. Every time I see on my Instagram feed a picture of a Fly Renault 5, I just think that's another one Scott's buying. In my head, you buy them all. But clearly, my head in
I've
many ways is
no
wrong.
the painful lesson late in life is that I have now. That's not to say that I won't succumb later on. I'll probably go to a swap meet or something and see it in the plastic and go, yeah, a bit like
They
a
are sore tempting. A lot of Fly models are sore tempting, but then I haven't got that much cabinet space. There is one here in front of me that I'm staring at, which I need to try and get another shelf in, uh, squeeze them all in.
well,
But
I get
I don't think I've bought a Fly car in about 10 years, which is
oh yes.
for
It's
Scott. It's more like 10 minutes.
so I may put it up. I developed a little, like that sort of days since accident at work sign. I've got one of those as a template to put the number in. It would only be something like 3, so it's reasonably giddy. I should make it weeks since slot car. Then I probably wouldn't need to change it ever. But it wasn't a fly car though. It was the most recent acquisition was a Mark One Escort Scalextrics in the gold Uniflow livery. So a bit
Ooh.
of an old one.
I'm on the cusp with Scalextric, I have to say, of thinking I won't be buying. I mean, I've pre-ordered the Volvo. That's a no-brainer. Pre-ordered Captain Scarlet.
Yeah,
No-brainer. Actually, as soon as I start talking, I realise the initial premise, I'm not buying any more Scalextrics, is just utter nonsense.
apart from yeah.
Of course I will. Yeah.
No, yeah, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Yes,
As soon as they do another sweet SD1 livery, it'll join its colleagues over here. Yeah.
yes. Well, yeah. Well, again, another case where I'm holding out for a rally car, possibly in vain, but I'm holding out. Lovely big computer vision, or a
You and the
golden
grubby
wonder.
world of rally cars.
Yeah, it's what it's all about. Well,
Oh, Golden Wonder. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, exactly. So the when we watch stuff, people love seeing cars going sideways. So
That is true.
rally slot cars go sideways, or they do when I drive them badly. You mentioned Captain Scarlet again. Interesting tidbit that I picked up whilst watching the Jerry Anderson podcast because our
Which
friend,
you
I don't,
educated me about.
I was like because Simon was on and he had the prototypes of the Captain Scarlet cars. Are you about to show some
No, no, no.
embarrassing picture?
I'm making a note to go and look for that podcast
Okay,
because you mentioned it before.
so Jerry Anderson podcast, and interestingly, what he said was they are to scale, although scale based on something which was only ever a model in the first place, but that the blue one with the tank tracks on the back, the SPV, has to be scaled down a little because it would have been too wide and it would have hit the power base every time it went past. So they've scaled it down, but it's still huge. And I took the opportunity again to hold it bottom to bottom with Fab One, and they're both pretty much the same width. So I think if Lady Penelope and Captain Scarlet are passing on your layout, there's likely to be a trading of paint. Parker will be pissed off.
The SPV didn't. It has a thing that comes out like
The,
an eject. You get in and out through a door that comes out sideways.
Sideways,
so if that
yeah.
works, that would be brilliant.
Well, you see, like me, you had the dinky toys, didn't we? We grew up
No,
watching the
I
program.
didn't have that one. I wanted it so
You
much.
wanted
but
it
I never
well.
got it.
Well, for some strange, fantastically futuristic reason, the driver was facing backwards.
That was it. Yeah.
Which, God knows how nauseating that must. Driving around at high speed, facing backwards, looking at a TV screen. But I gather the logic was that if you were in a crash, that meant But then Captain Scarlet was indestructible. But anyway, I don't know. But they looked great, and I won. The other thing which looked great was the E30. In fact, there was a twin set: Bastos, Soper, E30 M3, E36, not M3, the touring cars from Spa, and I wanted to steal it off the stand. Made the mistake of telling Simon that, though, so he watched me quite closely. But yeah, definitely that's coming in September. But the Jägermeister version of the E36, everything. So puts the Volvo completely in the shade. Lovely shape, bright orange. Yeah.
Jägermeister to me are kind of like Golf. I'm over that livery. I've seen it enough. I get that it's iconic like Golf, but I've seen it enough. It's cynical to make a model of that because you just know you're running to the bank.
I don't think that's cynical. I think that's good commercial sense.
Well, there's that too, yeah.
Which they probably could do with a fair dose of at the minute, but never mind. That's a different story.
You were also waxing lyrical the first time we tried to record this with the Stangelang, the Mustang.
I've already bought the GT3 Mustang, the blue, mostly blue, red and white one, and I think it's one of Scalextric's best models. The shape.
They like Fly makes sweet models.
Oh, the finish on it is just beautiful. You know the trick with Scalextric and Carrera, for that matter, GT3 cars, is to buy a set of NSR tyres for the rear. I can't remember the number off my head because I'm not that much of a geek, but there's a tyre that fits directly onto those hubs, and it puts, easily makes these cars. They're not sideways quick, but they're not far off. So
there's my other issue with Carrera in that they constantly re-engineer the hub such that nothing will fit it. I'm thinking in particular of my two Carrera BMW Pro cars, which I don't think you can. I've had to put slotted axles on to get some decent tyrage in there.
Well, I have an ongoing lamentation in the Brownlee household. Is that last year I discovered a German supplier of replacement tyres for Carrera and Revel tyres.
Are they Weber tyres or are they urethane?
They are, and they are transformative, particularly of old.
For me and the dear listener,
well,
I
bought many. It was R&S slot something, but
R&S. Google that R&S slot something.
The tragedy is they will no longer ship to the UK.
Oh,
So I'm bereft, and I've got a good friend in Switzerland, but that doesn't help because that's not in the EU either. So any
ah,
listener out there who wants to become my what do drug dealers, what do spy rings call it when you've got somebody
mule.
who's a mule?
Mm.
Anybody who wants to become my mule. I was
You
recently
don't
in
want tires if they've been. Let's not go there.
I I was recently in Berlin and stupidly didn't think ahead enough to order some and get them delivered to the hotel. That would have
Shaking
been
my
quite
head in
good.
disbelief.
Half my tires been anyway. They're great, and I'm pleading with them, and I'm looking for a way of trying to get round all of that. But anyway, there you go.
I, of late, well, probably a couple of years now, have made good friends, virtual friends, with a fellow who regularly goes to La Belle France. And so that's been useful, very useful.
I'm
Thank you
not
very
sure.
much. You know who you are.
I'm not sure you should touch the side of your nose like that. Well, not for such you know that. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Moving swiftly on. What
He's not
else?
bringing blades back for me or anything like that, like some
Nothing.
kind of school kid from
Nothing
England.
powdery.
Oh, I see. Sorry. That's hay fever, I promise you.
That's hay fever. Okay, okay. Anyway, back to Gaydon and Slotfest.
Yes.
On your wanderings, what else did you encounter that fired the?
Well, here's the inevitable Mr. Slotcar thing. Actually, I'm over the classics. I think they're a disappointment, whatever. The bigger disappointment for me going past his stall was the disappearance of the Lotus Esprit GT1, 2, whatever it was from the 90s, which was there last year and has just evaporated.
Is this a mystery? Is it like a sort of Raymond Chandler, the mysterious disappearance of the Lotus
Oh,
Esprit?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking forward to that. I mean, they are just such an annoying brand to me because they keep dicking me about. What happened to the Group C range? Oh, it was one Duff 787. That XK 220. But the Lotus Esprit, I thought, okay, the man clearly has a penchant for mid 90s enduro stuff, which I'm up for. The Lotus disappeared. Sad times.
Well, as we've said before, the logic is that the nostalgia market is the 30-year gap, which you would think the 90s would be a very sweet spot. So
Mm.
interesting, I think, that they're leaping with both feet and a metal chassis into the 60s with the Ferrari and the Corvette and
Well,
the
interesting in
bit
that it's
serene.
beyond the 30-year gap.
Yeah, yeah, and it seems to have got a lot of people have got. I think if I paraphrase the reaction, wow, that's great. Look at these; are lovely cars. Oh my God, what have they done to the side sills?
Yeah.
But there's also people who are going, I don't really care about that. This is great. It's going to be a metal chassis. It's going to handle really well. It's a class to itself, and the
And
law.
those people we need to root out and ship off to somewhere like, I don't know, where is it? El Salvador. I don't
Oh,
know.
Salvador, you're not allowed to do that anymore.
Oh,
No,
such a
I sort of see the point. Really, I think maybe it got me thinking. I'm going to try and draw a chart in the air with my hands.
oh, this is
Perform.
going to be good.
This
Okay.
is this is like miming business practice. If there's a sort of axis of realism, so scale, etc., and there's an axis of performance, and then you want absolutely realistic, which maybe means narrow, but it would also mean going quite slowly round corners because racing cars tend, especially 60s racing cars, didn't go round corners terribly quickly. But then you make it wider and you put sticky rubber on it and you put a metal chassis in it so it performs. But then we get all hung up that it's got not got curved sills. Do you see what I mean? I think
No,
it's one of those things which is like an unstable an
oh,
unstable polyhedron, if that's such a
right.
thing.
I'm not sure what you mean, but I do. I
Really,
because when
really, with that perfect illustration.
I thought originally when they were announced, it was like, we're going to make these cars and we're not going to make them bullets. We're going to aim for NC1, Ninko NC1 style performance, which I read as not fast, smooth. They can corner, but they won't be bullets, which I was like, bob on. Good choice of machinery because although of your 30-year rule, I am enamored with that era, I think they had some quite beautiful cars, very simple liveries, or no livery at all, just a roundel with a number on it. But they're iconic cars, iconic era. How many times can I use the word iconic without overdoing it? And then
I
they
think
go and
we've passed that point, to
okay.
be honest.
Because you look at a Corvette, I've seen photos. There's a guy who does excellent work on Slot Forum spraying, and his photographer's brilliant. Ken something or other. Head on, Corvette looks like a Corvette. Not my cup of tea. Too much Americana, too much chrome, but it looks like a Corvette C1. The rear looks like a Corvette C1. Take it from the side, which he hasn't done, and it just looks like, what the hell did you do there? In this day and age, I don't understand. Other than he wanted a metal chassis, he wanted the weight down low, and for some reason he took that weight out sideways as well, and felt the need to hide it.
I think, again, I'm not sure of this, but I've heard, and it's believable, that because these are technically marketed as toys, you have to have a kind of seal between the body and the, so you can't get little fingers into things where there may be moving parts. So,
But then don't Scaly get round that by saying there's a models, hence the tobacco.
I'm passing on
Advertising.
third party rumor. So,
Well, that's what we're best at.
but it made sense to me. It made sense to me that you've got to, because I remember famously and appropriately, given its recently prominence against the Toyota GT1 Le Mans car, the livery of which is now going to be applied to one of the cars for this year. In fact, is behind me. If you remember that, because at the time you had to have a road car version, just one at least, to qualify for GT1.
Which is a
And
silly rule.
yeah, it was, and we had trouble getting it through the baby head trap test, which was
What's that?
there was a baby head trap test. So if you knocked into a mother and child or child on its own, and it was tumbling down the side of the body, there couldn't be places where a head would become trapped and whatever. So that was
My word.
it was
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, no babies were harmed in the testing of the GT1. I hasten to add.
Uh, Seamless. So you must have been very happy with what you saw on the Slotted stand.
Very, very, very. And I would be hoping for that more than an M3, to be honest. I think Hypercar is the greatest thing
Isn't it
ever.
amazing? It's
Yeah.
like Group C for the modern world.
Well, it's
How many have
better.
they got? How many brands now are in there?
Well, it's much better. I lived through Group C and I went to a lot of Group C races. They weren't that interesting as races, believe me.
I only went to two, and I was just, I mean, I was a younger lad, and I was just giddy with excitement seeing that Blaupunkt Porker come up to the, oh my God, the hairpin at Brands Hatch, which is completely eluding me now.
Graham Hill Bend.
Graham Hill Bend.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I got some excellent photos on my Zenith TTL 35mm camera. Look it up, kids. It's a French kiss of a heavyweight Russian camera.
No, I like the machinery. Don't get me wrong. I'm as much a Group C nostalgia nut as anybody else, but I remember some very dull races. Now we've got 6 hour races where they're actually at it for the whole 6 hours, and there's cars. So it's great. Now, well done to the rule makers. I know it's
And Alpine are doing well, but Scalauto, they seem to be the ones who are trying to ring fence it. I thought it interesting that Slotted were moving into that territory.
well,
I didn't see them doing that, to be honest. I didn't see. I could easily see the Maurizio brothers just steering clear of Hypercar.
I think it's too big to ignore. It's what I'd like to think. Anyway, I'm delighted that someone is doing the Toyota, and I'm very pleased that it's slotted. And I'm hoping Scalextric do a number of. Well, they are. They've done the Caddy, and they're going to do the Porsche, and I'm sure they'll do a couple of others.
Have Scale Auto said they'll do the Toyota? They've said they'll do a lot.
Not yet. Not
Yeah,
yet.
that's interesting. Yeah. I want the Glickenhaus. Glickenhaus.
The Glickenhaus, yes. I guess it's volume in terms of numbers. I mean, I don't know how many. I mean, Scale Auto have become. I want to say a sleeping giant has awoken, and that just betrays my ignorance because they probably. But it feels like in the last 18 months, 2 years, Scale Auto have come from slightly obscure to wow, doing everything.
I always used to think of them as slightly kind of homespun Spanish niche stuff in a not very favourable team slot kind of way, and they seem to have raised their game a few bits. But annoyingly, have left the glazing out of my caddy white kit. I've emailed them, and I will use this social media if it ever gets of this. Okay, come on,
Don't
Scalotto. I
do
need
it.
some glazing.
Do it betray.
Weirdly, I got the rubber bits for the 9X8 Peugeot in the caddy box. So I think that's where the
Okay,
anyway.
well, that's the production. We're nearly out of time, so I have to say I
Oh,
should say, because I should have said, people may be asking, but where's Nick? And why have we
oh yeah,
been
yeah, yeah.
and why haven't we done any podcasts for ages? And the short answer is real life got in the way. So Nick got a very full-time job because he was a postman, and for a year, and hats off to him for doing that. But he's now PR for Honda Motorcycle Racing, and has been standing around and spending a lot of time with young men in leather. But and enjoying it. If you're following on his social media posts, he's enjoying it. He's about to spend 2 weeks on the Isle of Man, which I think, I've never been to motorcycle racing, but I imagine that's like a combination of Le Mans, Goodwood Festival, and something unspeakable with outside toilets.
Oh my word!
But
Hadn't thought
in the rain, probably, because let's face it,
that. Yeah, in the mist as well.
yeah. But anyway, so he's doing that, and hopefully we will catch up with him while he's in the Isle of Man for a kind of what's it like, and we can talk about slot bikes. So he's been doing that.
As I said yesterday, I was half expecting for my special guest appearance a three-way with him included, which would have been entertaining.
It would have been the
pun, if not confusing.
Yeah, listen, I'm having enough trouble wrangling two feeds together, so let's not get too advanced. Anyway, we might try that in future. But Nick's well, he's happy as Larry. He's got a new PR job, and I'm no longer driving to Scotland every other week, which is why I wasn't
his
doing
Instagram feed is worth a follow.
It's great if you like motorcycle racing and Game of Thrones locations.
Yes, I saw that. I thought, how much time has he put into that? That's a bit of a worry.
He loves a movie location, and in fact,
he did a lot of professional stuff.
Can you imagine how excited? Well, he knew, because I think he was involved in the development of it. But yeah, the Professionals twin set coming out from Scalextric has.
I sincerely hope he got a free copy of that.
Simon, if you're listening. Yeah, I'm sure one will find its way to him one way or another. What else can we talk about in the row? We've got 7 minutes to go.
Well, because we cocked up yesterday, I came prepared with what did you buy at Gaydon?
Show and tell time. Yes. It's a facsimile of a Formula One car.
It is, and check out the hypocrisy in this, because for ages I dissed these things as being just too generic, guys got too much of a fat head. No, I said. No.
Thrice.
And then there was a bit of a movement at the club to run them. And I thought, oh, you know what? Without knowing what they're like, I've dissed them for too long. And so I purchased one. And you know what? Bloody marvellous car. That's awkward for me to admit. These runs, I mean, this motor, I don't know what they've done, but it's a sweet, sweet motor. And in this guise, they are quite the joy to run. They look kind of odd, and this one is going in the IPA, isopropyl alcohol. Sorry. I thought as soon as this recording is finished, I'm going to strip it down and repaint it. But...
Drop it in your pint, I thought. Slotting tuning tips you won't hear anywhere else. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. So show and tell at Gaydon, in no particular order. I got Rising from Below. If it focuses on it, a Ninko Lamborghini Murcielago, is it? Black windows, NC1 motor or N1 motor. But it's lovely. I think
though, Scott. Is it really? Never let it be said that I'm judgmental, but
it is lovely. You're wrong if you think otherwise. Because it's a Ninko, and I think people, it's going to disappear into the mists of collective memory about how good Ninko cars were.
This is true.
Simple, honest, good cars. And it's got a lovely arse, so that's good. And the other
was that a Diablo?
Is it a Diablo? I don't really know my Lamborghinis.
No, I don't. I think that's a Diablo.
A Diablo, is it? Okay. Right, there you go. It's helpfully not written on the bottom.
Yeah, I think I've gotten into trouble if they put Lamborghini on.
Possibly. And this, though, is, and I'm not sure again if I'm getting the focus on.
Yes.
the Revel March Group C car, although this was an IMSA one, in the Red Lobster livery.
See, that's what I thought Slot.it might do next. Look into the also ran Group Cs.
Well, they'll very I guess. Well, I guess some of them like this would have had various liveries on them.
Yeah.
This is my third one, and I love it. I wanted this. It normally comes in a presentation box, and this one didn't. It was unboxed, but it's complete, and it's lovely, and the tyres are sticky enough, and it's a thing of joy. So I was very happy.
It's a funny livery, I think. Obviously means more to the North Americans than us, but I also think it's clever. And it's fun as well.
It's very, yeah, it's good. I mean, I think from the if I get there and count from the top,
There you go.
it just sort of makes sense. Not sure how in focus that was, but anyway, those were the things that I came from back from getting. And
My turn.
all right, go, show. Oh.
I've been after this for a while because I mistakenly believed it would have a brass pinion at the back here, and it doesn't. However, it's a Lotus 72. Come on, you can't have enough Lotus 72s.
It is very nice.
And that's it. I just bought those two. It's very nice. It ran yesterday. It's not as fast as my South African Embassy one, which is slightly disappointing. So I'm going to have to work on it. But did I say I won the Polycar Classic F1 heats yesterday at Ramsden, Oxford Scalextric Club? Yeah.
You have now. You have now.
Well, yeah.
As the DJs say on a phone, and can I just say thank you to all my friends? You have now.
Modesty prevents me from saying, but and that John Underwood was on the grid.
Yeah, he's been in touch. He's suggesting it wasn't entirely a clean race.
That's outrageous. There may have been a racing incident.
Yes, steward's inquiry. Yeah. But no, the other thing about Gaydon, which I must say, as I mentioned before, was that sort of meeting people and talking to people. Spent lots of time talking to folk, and so we spent a long time talking to Julie Scale and had a chat with Roger. Didn't get a chance with anybody at Pendle because they're just the way it worked out. Talked to Simon, Magnetic Racing guys, all that. But another people. But one lovely tale I must tell. So I was in the cafeteria looking for a seat to sit down with my overpriced sandwich and can of Coke. And there was just one. There was no free space, but there was one table with a guy on it, and he was on the phone. So I kind of motioned, is it all right to sit down there? And he nodded. So I sat down, and I'm kind of halfway through my sandwich, and he finishes his call and went, "Hello, Scott." And I thought, oh, I don't know you. I thought, have I forgotten completely? Is the Alzheimer's coming already? But turns out he's a listener, and so hello, thank you for letting me sit with you. And then
did you get his name?
No. Don't ask. I'm an old man. Don't ask me names. Sorry.
I think you must know the whole of UK slot racing,
but none of their names.
Yeah.
No, it is quite disconcerting when people come up to you and say hello, Scott, because there's always a bit of a guilty conscience when you go, "What have I done?"
Oh, telling.
What have I done? And but no, it's very nice. But thank you. That's terrible now.
Sorry,
we were joined by Gordon. So it was Gordon and oh God, I'm sorry. Anyway, get in touch. I'm an idiot. Can't remember, but it was lovely. It was a lovely moment. So thank you very much. And then
aren't you at this point supposed to say, if you know who you are, tell me in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Do that. Tell me in the comments below, or send me a rude message on one of the many social media channels.
If we are running out of time rapidly, can I just say once again a big thank you to, I believe it's Sean, Mark Scales, Phil Smith. Is he involved? The organising of Gaydon must take a bit, but I do that too much at the moment, chef's kiss. It's a bloody marvellous day out.
It was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I agree with you. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for all the stall holders and people who travelled. I mean, it's quite remarkable the number of people who come from overseas to show us their wares, so thank you for that. But we are running out of time, so I'm going to say thank you. Good to see you. We'll do it again soon, I hope. And with the gods of electronics allowing, this will get uploaded soon. Bye, everybody. Au revoir.